There's a famous quote attributed to a Baron Rothchild, an 18th century nobleman, that says to buy the stock market when there's blood in the streets. We've had 125,000 or more American citizens die as a means of the pandemic. I think that qualifies for blood in the streets. In my lifetime, there have been a few opportunities when I think you have to buy the stock market. I want you to look at this chart of the S&P 500. And I would ask you, when would you, if you had the opportunity to go back in time, when would you have wanted to buy the stock market? In recent history, of course, the dot-com bubble. When you see the S&P 500 go down like that, and then look what happened. How about the subprime crisis? Would you have been in a better position today if you were a stock investor then, if you had bought when there was blood in the streets, when the banks were failing and everybody was losing confidence in the stock market? Now we have the pandemic. Do you think that the world will recover, that the markets will recover? So why aren't you buying? And I can answer that. Because you're waiting for the next crash, which may or may not come. I happen to believe it won't come. Why do I believe it won't come? Because of Fed policy. The federal government and the Treasury are not going to allow our economy to shut down. I also believe that the medical world will create a vaccine, and this, like all past tragedies, dot-com bubbles, subprime crises, will go away. And so we are sitting at a point where the risk is much less than the potential reward. The upside is much greater than the downside. So now is the time to buy. Added to that, you have the convergence of technology playing into this. You have artificial intelligence, which is driving the data that has been gathered from me and you since the 90s to become worth the price of oil and gold of the past. This data is going to shape the world as we move forward. You have 3D printing coming to play, which is going to change the industrial world, the manufacturing world. This is all on the forefront. You have robotics, which again is going to change the manufacturing world. And this is all going to happen in the next 5 to 10 years. So risk and reward is leaning very strong to low risk, large reward. You've got geometrics, the study of the genome system, the study of the medical system. You have to believe that there are people right now saying this kind of pandemic can never happen again. We can't, as a civilization, survive this and allow this to happen again. So we have to muster everything we have to make sure it never happens again. That is change. That is change in the forward. Again, modifying or minimizing the risk and maximizing the reward. You have the internet that is going to gain access by 40% of the world that has not had it up until now. You have Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos putting rockets or satellites, low orbit satellites, in the air to make the internet available to 40% of the world that doesn't have it now, mostly in India and Africa. Is this going to change the economic world we live in? Yeah, it's going to change it huge. Look what the internet has done for the civilized world, for the Western world. Look how it changed when it became available to China. We are at the threshold of another opportunity of a lifetime. Facebook just bought 10% of Geo, India's largest telecommunication world, because they recognize there is huge opportunity there. Amazon is applying for the rights to sell liquor over their Amazon website in India, because they recognize the potential of the 1.3 billion people in India, half of which have not had access to the internet. Apple will announce that it's going to make its own chips for its phones, so they gain more control over their business. There are 6 companies, 7 companies, 8 companies that are going to change this world. And I've been beating their drums for the last 6 months. And those are the companies you need to own. The Apples, the Amazons, the Googles, IBMs, and what one am I forgetting? Tesla. These are the people who are changing the world we live in. And you are sitting back and saying, no, it's too soon. It's not time to get in. I believe right now there are some purchase opportunities that have been created as a result of the pandemic that are just, they're waiting for you to come take them. The hotel industry is not going to go away, yet its stock is down 35%. The shopping center industry is not going to go away, and yet its stock is down 35 to 50%. The airlines industry is not going to go away, and yet its stock is down 40 to 50%. The medical industry, look at some of the medical facilities. Their stocks are down 35%. Are they going away? No. This pandemic will breathe new life into them because we have become aware we cannot live without them. We cannot live without our nurses and our doctors. So we're going to have to pump money into them to make them stronger, to make sure we never have another pandemic. And then, like the video I just did, we have some people who have unimaginable amounts of money. They have everything they want except immortality. Yes, they know they're going to die, and they don't want it to happen. And they've got the money to make sure that it doesn't happen anytime soon, or maybe ever. I read a book, in The Future is Faster Than You Think, and they make the statement that death is not inevitable. It is a disease. It is caused by one of 9 factors. If you can cure those 9 factors, you can cure the disease of death. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, but it sounded ridiculous in 1900 that man could fly. It sounded ridiculous in the 1700s that man could communicate through a wire, or that man could pick up a device and talk and see other people. Yes, those things all sounded ridiculous, that they could not happen. And I know some of you do not believe that immortality cannot happen because you've never seen it. But your great-great-grandfather never saw an airplane. and yet you take it for granted. World is changing. Technology is going to change our world in the next 10 years, equivalent to what happened in the past 100 years. And this is the time to buy into it. Now, you have the technology stocks that are going to change, but you have opportunities because the hotel industry, the shopping industry, the airlines industry, and the medical industry are not going away. In fact, they're going to grow, and their stocks are down 50%. So, sign up for my daily newsletter. I'll tell you the stocks I'm buying. I'll tell you where I think the opportunities are. All you have to do is send me your email address. Go to bestofusinvestors.com, and I'll tell you what I think is where you should go, and then you make a decision. I'm not going to charge you an outlandish fee for my knowledge. My knowledge is free. What I expect from you in return is to subscribe, is to like, is to comment and share your knowledge with the million subscribers I hope to have within the next 2 years. Because if we can create a mind pool, something that has never been done before, a mind pool of 1 million people sharing their knowledge openly and without charge, we can all benefit. The internet is changing the world just in this little place that I'm talking about right now. Best of us investors.